coach of your Minnesota Golden Gophers, P.J. Fleck.
Welcome to Ski-U-Mah Weekly, presented by the Minnesota Lottery here on the Gopher Sports Facebook page. I'm Justin Gard from KFAN Radio, sideline reporter for the Gopher Football Radio Network, and the head football coach joins us again this week here in the football building, P.J. Fleck. How's it going, Coach?
It's going elite. Appreciate it, JG. Thanks.
We just saw a little bit of B-roll, I believe, of some of your bye-week activities. There was a helicopter involved. There was Mall of America involved. There was a gala horn at U.S. Bank Stadium involved. You packed a lot in on that bye week, it seems.
Well, we did. Well, we had to. I think the biggest thing we needed to do was go out and recruit. In terms of when you talk about the future of our program. And I thought our staff did an elite job. You know, guys were multiple places in a night. That's what the helicopter was for, to be able to hit multiple games. You know, where you live in a metro area. And if we think we're just going to go to game without any traffic, drive 35, 40 minutes with nothing go wrong, I think we're crazy. So for us to be able to get a great evaluation, interact with fans, interact with kids, get people to really get on this Gopher bandwagon and really buy into what we're doing, we have to be there for a while. So to be able to think we were just going to be able to do that by driving, I think we were crazy. The Vikings was a wonderful experience, but at the end of the day, what we needed to do was we needed to get healthy, and we have to get better. And that's what Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of the bye week was for.
As a reminder, this show is for you watching on Facebook Live. If you have a question for Coach Fleck, feel free to drop it in the comments section. We will take a couple of those in just a minute, and our favorite question of the day will win a Minnesota Lottery prize pack of the week. Let's look back at the non-conference, maybe even Middle Tennessee specifically. You're 3-0, undefeated. I know that's just data, so take me in the inside of it, what you liked of the non-conference portion and what you want to clean up moving into conference play.
Well, you're 100% right. We're 0-0 in our minds. I think the bye week came at a perfect time for the health of our football team. But for us, as we continue to move forward, when you reflect back on your past to create your future, what you have to be able to do is be very honest with yourselves. When we were really close in close ball games like Game 1, we didn't win on first and second down on both sides of the ball. We didn't create a lot of takeaways, and we didn't take care of the ball. And that's the key factors. When we did win by a staggering amount of points, we took the ball away, protected the football, made elite decisions, and we won on first and second down. And that set up a lot of third and manageables on offense and a lot of third and longs on the defensive side. So this isn't rocket science, right? And how you win football games, everybody has different ways to skin the cat, right? How you win football games for everybody, though, has to do with a lot of those things. Third down statistics, time of possession, and then you talk about the ball, winning on first and second down, takeaways. Those are the things that really add up.
You took the team to the Vikings game yesterday. I'm curious, or I wonder, does it help? Because their formula was the same yesterday as well. Their quarterback played very well. Jameis Winston did not play very well, threw a bunch of interceptions. That was the story of the game. Does it help? Not that you need more data for when it comes to the ball as the program, and I know that's in your meeting room with takeaways in the Big Ten every week, but when you go to an NFL game and say, no matter where we are, guys, it's going to be about the same principles.
Well, you always need the data. For 17 to 22-year-old young men, you constantly have to find cultural ways to teach lifetime lessons. The lifetime lessons being in terms of how you win football games, right? That's been going on since the 1800s, right? But how you win football games. So watch an NFL team do that and back up all the data that we have and what we say and how we say it got us street cred for today. And tomorrow we got to come up with something completely different, right? Because that's already out of sight, out of mind for these young people. But also it was to visualize, if you want to play in the NFL, look at this. A lot of our players had never been to an NFL game.
Right.
And they've never taken advantage of going to a Vikings game, which is a 1.5 mile walk down the path. So for us, we wanted to be able to have them visualize themselves playing in the NFL and kind of give that fan experience that most likely they're not getting.
Last thing for me, you've got Maryland now to open up Big Ten play, 11 o'clock at TCF Bank Stadium. They're 2-1 on the year. Maybe the question of who's going to play quarterback for them because they've got some injury concerns there, but what stands out as you look at the Terps?
Well, the big thing for the Terps is they have one of the fastest defenses, if not the fastest defense we will play against in terms of up to this point. They still have their big 4-time playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, so whoever's taking snaps, some of those guys might be taking the snaps as well. They can still distribute. They can still get the ball in their guys' hands, and that's the same guys who beat Texas and had all those things going on in terms of when they were winning, right? But one game does not define your season. And I know this is when they come back in, Coach Durkin's going to get them well prepared. They're going to learn from their experiences, and we're going to get their best effort. We're going to get that best Maryland football team that they've shown all year. There's no doubt in my mind of what we're going to see. But those 4 playmakers are back. Their defense is fast. Their special teams create a lot of adversity for us and a lot of muddle looks and a lot of different things. So we've got to make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's.
We've got Goldie's helmet here. Mary Ellen wants to know about the Goldie shoes you wore last game. Where did you get the Goldie shoes with his face, this face right here on each sole, I guess?
You know, that was those are made. A lot of our game day shoes are made. It was baby Goldie on the right and then older Goldie on the left because it was his birthday. It showed his progress. But that's the creative team that we have here, and I'm very, very proud of the guys who made them, and they're very special to our program, and they're going to continue to do that. And it's not just a win or loss thing. It's just something that we can continue to do. It's another opportunity for us to be able to auction things off at the end of the year, raise money for charities, and I'm all for that.
And we're going to hear from at least one of the co-conspirators next segment regarding the helmet, the shoes, and all the interesting things you see on the sidelines, a special guest along those lines. Darren says, Coach Fleck, what has been your biggest surprise to you since taking the job here at Minnesota? Making you go way back into the deep reservoir.
Yeah, no, I think I've been asked this a lot. I think it's how passionate our fan base really is about Golden Gopher football. And, you know, when you haven't won a championship in over 50 years, and you still have the passionate fan base that you have, that says a lot about what we can do here. Not what we haven't done, but what we can accomplish. And that's what I always get on, I talk to people about is, can you just imagine when it all takes shape? And look at the Vikings right now, right? I mean, think about if the Vikings go and win the Super Bowl, if the Golden Gopher football program can win a Big Ten championship and find a way into the playoff system, right? The Twins can win the World Series again, and the Timberwolves are really young. We've got Jimmy Butler, and now all of a sudden they start doing really well. We're all Minnesota, right? Can you imagine when that all kind of takes shape and we all start coming up together? That's the power, and it's a lot of the same fan bases, and that's what I love about the Twin Cities. Just how passionate our fan base really is.
Our next question is from Derek. He says, I'm excited about your enthusiasm, inspiration, and leadership. Could you explain the meaning behind the how way?
Yeah, the how way is really big because it really doesn't matter what you do, but it matters how you do it. And that's anything in life. That comes from your job, that comes from your work, that comes from your family, as a husband, as a father. How you do something matters because that's the story of your life. That's how you got to that point. So we talk about our how way to success, right? And that starts with our heart, right? Your purpose, your pride, your passion, the heart work that we have. It talks about one, that we have to become one team. Beginning of the year, I thought we were a group, right? And now we're starting to become a team. And then there's got to be a want. There's got to be needs that we have to be able to fulfill. You have to want the need to do this. So we talk about being a mature football team. What you need and want, right, that has to become exactly what you're demanded to do as well. So what you have to do becomes what you want to do. That's the sign of a mature football team. We're starting to get there. We're not there, and you'll never get there, but it's the journey of that road that you're constantly on.
Well, the interesting thing for me, kind of on the inside at least a little bit, is when people come to practice, they can see this as well. You've got the howway as you enter the facility. Over to my left over here, the howway is right there. On the plane to the games, it's on the back of every single seat. It seems like that's going to be a constant reminder to everybody.
Well, it's going to be, as long as I'm the head football coach here, that's always going to be our staple. How we do things matter. And I want everybody in our community to understand that. How we serve our community, how we give to our community, how we give to each other. I think that's really powerful. It's not just what you do. Just because you do something doesn't mean you've arrived or you've done something great. But your story and the journey to accomplishing that and the reasons why and how, I think that's really powerful.
If you're watching right now live on Facebook Live, don't forget to vote for our uniform-related poll. We'll get some results on that next segment because it's a very uniform-centric segment here on Ski-U-Mah Weekly. Last thing for me, you've got Big Ten play starting now this Saturday against Maryland. You beat a couple of Big Ten teams last year at Western Michigan. I'm curious, what was important in those games? You've never been through a whole Big Ten schedule, but you've certainly been exposed to Big Ten programs. What was important in those games for you guys?
Well, the one thing I think is really important is to not isolate, hey, this is completely different than what we've ever done. This is really big for us in terms of we have to continue to do what we know wins games. And that's the ball, right? That's winning on third down, first and second down to set up manageable third downs, right, on the offense and defensive side of the ball, and continue to play our style of football. We can't just sit there and say, okay, we're in Big Ten play and we're going to change everything right now. We are who we are. We have the type of talent we have, and we have to make sure as a coaching staff we don't take a square peg and jam it into a round hole. We've got to continue to do what helps us win football games. and continue to educate our players. Play the situations, not just the plays that are called. Play the situations of the game. There's 90 different situations and 90 different plays that come up during a game. You got to play that situation and be better at playing situational football.
11 o'clock kick at TCF Bank Stadium. Coach, thanks for the time today. We'll see you then.
I appreciate it. Row the boat, Ski-U-Mah, go Gophers.
That's the head coach, PJ Fleck, here on Ski-U-Mah Weekly. When we come back, one of the men responsible for helmets like this and shoes that you see on Saturday, Kyle Gurgley, equipment manager, is going to join us. Going to be a fun segment. Stick around.
Gophers, Terrapins, Saturday at 11 a.m. at TCF Bank Stadium. Tickets at gophersports.com.
All gold for the first time since 1974. A week's worth of practice, hard work, plenty of energy, and the home team is set to hit the ground running. The 2-0 Golden Gophers of Minnesota.
Hand off to McCrary, tries the right side, gets a block from Howard, inside the 5, touchdown! Minnesota Golden Gophers!
Wingstop, fat boy, need a 10-piece. Say that name in the cup.
Welcome back to Ski-U-Mah Weekly. Really excited about this segment. We're joined now by Director of Football Equipment, Kyle Gurgley, on our Facebook Live channel. I call you Gurgs. I think everybody calls you that.
Pretty much.
Welcome to the show. How's it going?
It's elite. It's great to be here. Fun to be here. You know, we talked about that last segment. We were pretty happy about that. Pretty excited about that, and we got some other fun things in store.
We're going to get to all of that. I'm curious, how long have you been in the equipment game?
Got my first start in 1998 with the Indianapolis Colts, Peyton Manning's rookie year, and been doing it ever since. I was a sophomore in high school then.
So we're approaching 20 years, basically.
Yep.
And now, all of a sudden, you're an overnight success because of some of the things that get the national attention. You had a newspaper article written about you. You're on Facebook Live. It doesn't get any bigger than this. But what's that been like for you? Because, you know, equipment guys are like trainers, and there's a lot of people behind the scenes that like being behind the scenes. Yeah. What's this attention been like for you?
It's fun getting attention. You know, obviously, we don't do this job to get attention. We do it for the players. We do it for the fans. We do it for the program. But it's kind of neat to get a little bit of attention, you know, looking at your couch at night and seeing, you know, Twitter just blowing up because of the Goldie helmet and things of that nature. But it's pretty fun. Me and my staff have a great time, fun time looking at it and kind of ribbing each other back and forth between who did what and stuff like that. So it's been a lot of fun.
What is a typical game day like for you guys? I know it's different home and road, but what time are you getting in? What are you doing? And how long do you go after?
Typically, each game is we treat like a road game because we're at TCF Bank Stadium. It's a little less than a mile down the road from our normal facilities. So we treat everything like a road game. So it's uniform everywhere we go. The players know exactly what to expect, what we're going to do, what they need to do, things of that nature. But we typically get to the stadium on Saturday about 5 hours prior to, get everything set and ready to go, get the sidelines going. Our headset techs get the headsets out, make sure that those are working because those are a pretty big part of our job on game day, make sure those work. And then 2.5 hours out, we meet the team. And once they get there, we're solely focused on them and making sure they have everything that they need to be successful on the field.
How much has, I guess, your job, maybe isn't the right word, but how much has the uniform game changed in your 20 years where now it's everybody wants to know what combo you're wearing, everybody wants to know how many combinations you have, are you going to release it early, when are you going to release it? How much has all of that changed even in the last couple of years?
Yeah, last couple of years, I mean, since I started, you know, NFL usually typically stays about the same. I went to Purdue as a student manager and worked there full time. We didn't do a whole lot of different stuff, but I think the emergence of social media like Facebook Live, Facebook, Twitter, all those types of things has really helped explode the uniform game with, I don't know if you saw, but we were ranked #1 uniform of the week last week by Uniswag. Yeah. So, Uniswag, you know, things like that. They have 90,000 followers, which, I mean, it's crazy. But it has drastically changed over the years and all the different things that we do.
We do have a question from Matt, wants to know what the coolest upcoming uniform is. I'll piggyback that. Are they like your children? I mean, do you have a favorite one, or is it whatever that week is, that's the one you like?
My favorite one as of right now is the Goldie lid, just because it was so different than anything that I've ever been a part of or worked on. you know, our mascot is such a huge part of what we do here at the University of Minnesota, and being able to, you know, even if somebody's not a fan of football, you know, they're a fan of Goldie, you know, helping them connect us to them that way. But, you know, we got a few cool things coming down the line that I'm not allowed to share about yet,
Right.
but it definitely does the work of connecting the program to the community through various ways.
And we talked on the radio broadcast about the Goldie helmet. I know we've got some video that we may have shown you or are about to show you on the process of putting the Goldie emblem on the helmet. It wasn't just like one big decal. Take us through how long this actually took.
So the decal itself to get on the helmet was about 15 minutes, and that includes the tail and the M and the two things in the back as well. Greg, my assistant, basically did 80% of the helmets. There's other various things that I've had to do, get pulled away from to take care of, but Greg did a tremendous job working on these helmets and just putting a lot of time and effort into it, along with Brady, our intern, of just getting these things knocked out. It was pretty much a total of a 4-week turnaround for us during camp. The decals came a certain way. We had to change them up a little bit in terms of putting masking tape over the top of them so we could apply it to the helmet by taking the backing. But all told, I think with the decals, it was about a half an hour per helmet.
And how many helmets for the team?
There was 113, I believe.
That adds up.
It adds up.
That time will add up.
It adds up, definitely.
There's also been, you know, speaking of hours, I think Coach Fleck has worn a pair of shoes that have taken 50 hours to make, I think 25 hours to make. It's almost weird when he just rolls in with just regular shoes.
Yes.
But what's that been like to have a head coach that really seems like, whatever you want me to wear, I'll wear it, however we can auction it off? That's great. That's got to be an interesting dynamic there.
You know, it's been fun for us because it's given me more of a chance to connect with the creative department, with Jeff, Nico, and Will, working on those various things with the shoes, what types of shoes he likes, and different ideas. When we spitball some ideas and things of that nature on what would be neat moving forward and things like that. So just finding the correct shoes for those guys and their creative efforts to make sure they look good on the field, and you know, it's fun to have a head football coach that appreciates the equipment side of things and knows that what we do is extremely important.
Last thing for me, when do you decide what the combination is going to be? Who do you get that input from? You know, some programs that seniors get to pick, it's player vote. How do you decide, and when do you make that decision?
So the first 3 combos that we wore, you know, all the same color, white on white, maroon on maroon, gold on gold. We talked with Coach about 2 weeks out before our first game, and kind of came up with a plan. During the bye week, we met with Coach, come up with a plan the rest of the year. Now that will be in flux depending on which way the wind blows and if something different comes about. But we have a tentative plan on what we think we want to do for the year that's really going to be exciting and show some elite creative ideas.
Any teasers for this Saturday, or when can we expect that to drop, the combo for this Saturday?
I would probably say something about midweek. I would think that towards the start of the game, so Thursday, Friday, we'd probably anticipate seeing something.
Which is a big change. It used to be just show up and you'll see what they're wearing, but now we got to get in advance, right?
Yep.
Well,
absolutely.
Good luck picking it. Good luck
Thank you.
fixing it. Hopefully there's no more like 75-hour jobs that you've got to squeeze in during the week. Fun to have you on the show, and we'll continue to look for your great work this season.
All right, thanks for having me.
That's Kyle Gurgley. He runs the entire equipment department, head of football equipment here at Gopher Football and Gopher Sports. That does it for us here on Ski-U-Mah Weekly. Congratulations to Matt Roth, who had our question for Kyle. He is our Minnesota Lottery Question of the Week, so he will win a Minnesota Lottery prize pack. For all of us here at Ski-U-Mah Weekly, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.